Watch this. This is insane. There's no way Sweet Tea does this.
Like Jello.
No way. Stay weird, y'all. That's good.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry. I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all the seekers, man, who's watching the videos entirely. Comment down below. Greatly appreciate the support. Found these videos for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
You ever seen tears under a microscope? It look just like crystals. When you put tears under a microscope, this is what tears and grief look like. Tears of timeless reunions. Tears of laughing and crying. Tears of release. This is more images of what tears look like under a microscope. Remember, water has memory, so every time you release some of your tears, you're releasing some of your memories. If you ever start crying and tears fall from your right eye first, that means happiness. If tears fall from your left eye first,
sadness.
That means tears of sadness. If tears fall from your eye at the same exact time, that means your body is doing a natural detox. Every time someone speaks about a detox, they speak about herbs, plants, and fasting. Did you know that crying is the greatest detox you can do? The image you are looking at right now in the background is tears when you cry at the same exact time. You ever ask yourself why they always say men shouldn't cry? They said if a man cries, it makes him weak, but it's really the opposite. When a man cries, it recharges his whole physical body to get more strength. So next time you want to do a natural detox, go outside while it's raining and start crying and watch how your body recharge.
I swear.
Okay. I didn't know crying was a detox. It's crazy, man, how each different emotion brothers, they look different under the microscope. We learning.
Thank God I'm at the Asian market. Look, I ain't never seen no motherfucking black chicken. The fuck out of here.
What?
What? The fuck? Oh shit.
Today marks 10 years that my sister has been gone. I have told this story before on Facebook. A couple of years ago, I told this story on TikTok. And I'm just trying to spread awareness. So TikTok, please understand this is for educational purposes only. My sister was unalived by her husband using witchcraft, black magic, root is what we call it in the South, because he didn't want her to be successful. He was very jealous of her and he didn't want her to succeed. It is a long story, but I just wanted to put it out there that I will be telling the story again. I just need to get through this day. What y'all need to understand is this shit's real and that it can happen to anybody. So let me get through this day, and I will post part 1 probably tonight or tomorrow. And this time I'm gonna go in a bit more detail about what happened, why we caught it so late, and just try to understand that this could happen to anybody. She was beautiful, she was smart, she had children, she was talented, she had a lot going for herself. And when you are a powerful woman, and you come across a needy man, stay tuned for part 1. I just need to get through this day and then I will put up part 1.
Sounds scary. I don't know what he
I
did.
knew exactly who will be playing in this year's Super Bowl just by looking at the logo. The NFL really thought the neon colors would throw us off. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically every year the NFL releases their Super Bowl logo, and for the past few years, the 2 primary colors that are in the logo have also been the primary colors of the teams that end up playing in the Super Bowl. And you're trying to tell me this isn't scripted? Anyway, back to this year. Let me show you what this looks like with the saturation turned down. We go from pink and lime green to our primary colors being purple and blue. If you're thinking, hey, what about the red right there? The game is in San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge is red. So do not even try to tell me that that little bit of red means the Chiefs are going to be in this year's Super Bowl, because I cannot handle that. There's also a shocking amount of green on this logo, but that'll all make sense when I tell you what teams these are. The blue is obvious. It's the Lions, whose primary colors are really just blue. And the purple is even more obvious. It's the Ravens. And here's where that green starts to make sense. The Ravens' main color is not just purple, it's also gold. And gold is really just yellow. But the Lions don't have another color, so they kind of just rock with blue. And what happens to blue when it's mixed with gold or yellow? It turns green. So nice try, NFL, but the script has officially been leaked again. Lions-Ravens Super Bowl 2026.
There's some crazy
If that's true, we're coming back to this video. Called it Lions Ravens 2026.
things happening in the world right now. A man in Michigan, known for his generosity in his community, made one final gesture to thank his community by literally making it rain cash from a helicopter at his own funeral using his life savings. He was a beloved car wash owner in East Detroit, and he died from Alzheimer's at 58 years old. Sounds like a great guy. We can now help the US government pay down its debt using Venmo and PayPal. Yippee! A Florida man was arrested for drunk driving a lawnmower down a highway. McDonald's had an AI hiring tool that's password was 123456, which someone apparently guessed and exposed the data of 64 million applicants to McDonald's. And everyone is welcome classroom sign is violating a new Idaho law. The law says that you're not allowed to put up political statements as signs in classrooms. I guess, okay. A teacher was banned recently in Wales for drinking alcohol, swearing at other teachers, and dancing to the Macarena while under the influence of alcohol. Obviously, or not obviously, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to dance to the Macarena, I guess.
I want y'all to go look up how many black truck drivers go missing. If you have a truck driver in your family, you need to send them as many videos as you can, because the stories are here on TikTok. Let me tell y'all what's going on. They had a black man, 38 years old. He talked to his wife at 3:45 that morning. When he talked to his wife at 3:45 that morning, he told his wife he was getting down, off the interstate to go get some coffee. She never talked back to him ever again. I think his wallet and I believe the truck was found or something like that. But she haven't heard from her husband at all. So who has snatched this man? Where's this man? You think he just up and just left it and just, come on, bro? What's really going on? But I want y'all to go and look up truck drivers, black truck drivers that has went missing. You'll be surprised the stories that's out there. Though it's just not safe. And I know me and my husband has traveled, and we done got down on in these little towns to stop to get gas, and it just don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? So sundown towns are real, guys. I actually talked to my nephew because he's a truck driver, and he told me he walked in a store, and he said, Auntie, everything just got quiet. So basically he knew he wasn't, he wasn't comfortable, or he wasn't supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew the people had a problem of him being there. Talk with your loved ones, okay? And guys, share this man's story. I'm going to hashtag his name, okay? I'm praying for his family. Hugs and love. If you are a black truck driver, please be careful. Again, hugs and love. Y'all be blessed, J-Lo.
Thanks for the warning. Is he looking for his keys in his mouth? Oh yeah, he's cooked. I don't know what he on, bro. I don't know what was going through his mind.
Putting in our food. Watch this. This is insane. There's no way Sweet Tea does this.
Like Jello.
No way. Stay weird, y'all. That's goop. None of these places are safe to eat at anymore. Can anyone explain why this happens? As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
I just watched a video of that girl saying that everything's been so crazy because there's a time traveler who keeps going back to 2020 to try to fix things, make shit right, but he keeps fucking it up. Listen, I know y'all think I believe everything, but here's why I believe that. Because y'all don't remember this time last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, that time traveler that was caught at the Airbnb in that shed on that guy with the Airbnb host ring camera. Bro, whatever you believe, okay? He went in, he was in his 20s, he came out, he was in his 50s, 60s. We never seen him again. You gotta be kidding. He's still out here. He's still out here. It was the same guy. The same shaped forehead, the same glasses. He looked at the camera. It's the same guy. He's still out here trying to make changes. That's where we're getting all these Mandela effects from. Didn't they look him up too, and they found his name, and they found that he was involved in like quantum physics and astrophysics.
Wow.
You can't make it up. That's him. He's still out here.
Our sensory systems were not shaped to show us the truth. They were shaped to keep you alive long enough to reproduce successfully. Darwin's theory says the probability is zero that any sensory system, like eyes, ears, smell, touch, taste, has ever been shaped to see any aspect of objective reality truly. What you do experience is sensory systems that guide adaptive behavior.
So your eyes, your nose.
They guide you so that you act in ways that you don't die too quickly.
Okay.
And you can have kids that don't die too quickly. That's all it's about.
If you just imagine, like, wipe off everyone on the earth and it's just you, and we remove all of your senses, what is in that space? Because you're right, my senses, my eyes, my ears, my ability to understand temperature is a byproduct and consequence of me surviving. If we think about ghosts and the afterlife, maybe there was no reason from a survival perspective that I even needed to be able to see or acknowledge them. Maybe it just didn't help. So anybody that could process all that information wouldn't have been good at reproducing, therefore they wouldn't be here. So maybe those of us that are here were just really good at ignoring the other dimensions.
That's what our mathematics says. I think that your intuitions on that are quite right. If you pay attention to anything other than what allows you to have kids, you're wasting your time from an evolutionary point of view.
Oh, what is that?
What the hell is that?
This is a telescope, and I don't know what this looks like. Bacteria or something.
That's so gross.
Oh wow, you got it.
4K.
I don't know, y'all. This is kind of creepy.
Can I get what?
Very creepy. If you're trying to reduce your exposure to microplastics, you might have to stop breathing.
New research just confirmed microplastics aren't just in our food and water. We're inhaling them, and at a rate 100 times higher than previously estimated. We can't see them, but they're there. The good news? You can take small steps that actually help. Dust regularly, open your windows, and rethink the synthetic stuff you use every day.
NASA works for the devil, and they found him in the bottom of the ocean in the 60s. So they've been trying to cover up the Sealab 3 project for quite some time. Sealab 3 was this mission where the Navy and NASA partnered up to see the bottom of the ocean to test certain things. But what they were doing was certain types of research. In short, they were trying to get in contact with the devil. Well, at least NASA was. Now, whenever they got to the bottom of the ocean, things got really weird. And there is multiple reports of sabotage. Any of the Navy members that discovered anything for some reason ended up missing. Now, the more fascinating thing about this is one of the supposed astronauts that supposedly went to space, Scott Carpenter, was down there the entire time. Now, they tried so hard to stop the information from coming out that even whenever they did a 2-week decompression period, even that was getting sabotaged. This is all public information too. Please fact check me if you don't believe me. The ocean is the house of the Dajjal or Antichrist, and it is also the house of the devil. There is multiple biblical texts that talk about this. The Quran, the Bible, the Torah all mention about how these sinners or evil people at some point in time throughout all of these stories were going to be sent to the abyss. Now the word abyss means the deepest dark part of the ocean. It comes from the Greek word abyssos, Everything that NASA says is a lie. They are working directly with the devil.
The seismographs at Yellowstone have been down for almost 2 weeks now. People are starting to feel a chill in the air as the seismographs at Yellowstone National Park and the University of Utah, which monitors the Yellowstone supervolcano, have been down. No one has an idea as to why both of them have been down at the same time. However, typically they will let us know when they're about to do maintenance so as to not frighten people. This time that did not happen and they have just been down without a reason. This is directly after this seismograph was recorded at Yellowstone. And as all of this is going on, a man on TikTok is posting videos of the ground shaking. This man lives on a ranch near the Yellowstone National Park. In one of these videos, he has a water bottle on the ground, and as he's recording, you can see several small fissures pop up, and then a bit into the video, the water bottle falls over. And this person has posted many videos of the ground shaking to such an extreme degree that it sounds like water is boiling underneath the surface of the crust.
So we got a freaking super volcano about to go off in the Yellowstone. We see the bison leaving, fleeing. That seismograph was looking scary.
Is scared he will never die. Ismail Azizi from Tanzania has reportedly been declared medically dead by doctors on 6 separate occasions, but has come back to life every single time, and no one can explain how. In a recent documentary by Afromax, they report that the first time he died was after a workplace accident. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and soon after, doctors declared him dead, not some randoms off the street. His body was taken to the morgue while his family started preparing his funeral. But to their bewilderment, he regained consciousness and walked out of the morgue onto the street like he was taking a nap. And that was only round 1. He died again after catching malaria, but this time he made it all the way to the coffin before yet again waking up at his own funeral. Now this became a literal cycle for years. Death 3 was after a car accident where he collided with a fuel tank and put him in a coma. But like clockwork at this point, after being pronounced dead by medical professionals again, he woke up. And at this point, even the doctors were getting freaked out. Death 4 was after he got bit by a venomous snake, but this time he spent a whopping 3 days in the morgue. And that really convinced his family that Ishmael was gone for good this time. But no, because when they went to go retrieve his body for his 4th funeral, he woke up again. Now after his 5th death, he fell into a toilet pit. His community started getting a little scared, and they became convinced beyond reasonable doubt that he was a witch or a ghost. So you know what they decided to do? Burn his house down with him inside to try and kill him for the 6th and final time. And guess what? They were successful until he woke up again. Bro, I'd be scared too. I couldn't die. And now, after all of this, he has to live in an isolated old house with no neighbors, because apparently he's a bit of a local legend and people are too scared to live near him. He also said he can't get a job either as a result of the stigma. Bro, one meeting with JD Vets, cooking for sure.
Why is nobody talking about this? China is back on a lockdown. Just the other day, over 7,000 people was affected with something called the chikungunya virus, a mosquito-borne illness that causes joint pain, fever, fatigue, and in some cases, paralysis. But here's where it gets weird. They're spraying the cities, they're deploying drones everywhere, scanning every rooftop, and if you got standing water and you're not dumping it, they're finding you up to $1,000. I'm even hearing they're cutting people power. Mosquito nets, quarantines, they treating this shit like a biohazard. They're releasing modified mosquitoes. Like that's gonna help or some shit. I feel like that's gonna make it even worse. Y'all know who started the genetically modified mosquitoes, right? Let me know in the comments. And as of right now, the CDC just issued a travel warning. So if you're traveling to China, they advise you not to, unless you really got to. And I don't see a reason why you would really have to go there when something like this is going. Now this. I got some questions. If this was just a regular bug virus, why the lockdown? Why the surveillance drones? And why the severe emergency level response? Maybe this ain't just a virus, y'all. Climate change is making these viruses spread even faster. Y'all never noticed that? And governments already know what's happening. They running drills while a lot of other people still trying to figure out what's going on. But I be hit. You ever wonder what else they know that we don't?
The guy who was caught throwing toys on the WNBA court has finally told us why he did it. And yes, they have finally caught the green toy machine. His name is Caden Lopez, and he is already facing charges of disorderly conduct and ASSULT after his most recentest throw seemed to hit Sophie Cunningham in the leg. Then Kelsey Plum kicked it off the court, and this is where it gets more worser. A lot of people were saying that he was going for Sophie Cunningham specifically after Sophie literally said, "Stop throwing toys on the court, you're going to hurt one of us." Now the WNBA has implemented a no-bag policy for games. And even though a lot of people think that this is super funny, a lot of people are super angry that this is happening. And this is where it gets even more insaner. So the 3 toys that have been thrown have been over the past week in 3 different cities across the United States. The first one in Georgia, the second one in the state of Chicago, and the third one where he got caught in Los Angeles. And people were wondering if it was the same guy all 3 times, as well as how did he sneak them in? Well, it turns out that he snuck in the green toys on his person, which is the most disgustingest thing I've ever heard. He was doing this just because it's funny. Should he be free?
I don't know. I don't think so,
though. Seriously? What the hell? It's that hot here?
It's melting everything.
看到感觉是干嘛呢？我的乖呀，感觉。
What the hell is that? Is that hot?
Want to know how hot it is in Australia? This hasn't been switched on. It's just been baking in the Aussie sun. Just goes to show.
God dang. I don't know how people can live in that heat.
Part 4. Firstly, this woman really wanted to bring her bottle of water on a flight. But if you've ever traveled on an airplane, you'll know that you can't carry more than 3.4 ounces of liquid with you. So in 2013, she came up with a genius loophole. She carried a large can of water with her, but the water was frozen. And according to the law, you can't carry water in a liquid state, but you can bring frozen water. Moving on, you can't bring alcohol to a music festival. But in 2017, a man named Alex Diamond came up with a genius idea. A few days before the Electric Zoo Music Festival, he went to the site and buried a water bottle filled with alcohol, pinning the exact location on Google Maps. A few days later, when the festival started, he went to the same spot and dug up the bottle. Finally, this kid was having fun playing games on his computer, until his parents told him to go outside and play. So he took his computer outside and started playing there.
Those 5,000 IQ moves, man. The hell are we watching? Those are definitely some edits, right?
This might be the scariest thing that ever happened to America. We all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But this has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. But a demonic whispering was coming from every TV in America. Many people believed that it was the devil trying to get across some message. But nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds, then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but everybody believes it was the works of the devil.
What do you guys think? What was that? What was the cause of all those TVs going out and for this playing that audio? Was a message trying to get through? Or were they testing something? Because you know how they be testing stuff with the TVs. Some questions, man, that's coming into my mind.
After a massive manhunt, the missing hiker has been found alive after 10 days. And how he survived is crazy. 34-year-old Lucas only planned an afternoon hike in California's oldest state park. apart. So he set out with very few supplies and not even a t-shirt, expecting to return home in a few hours. However, he soon became disorientated as recent wildfires had destroyed familiar landmarks. And since Lucas didn't tell anyone where he was going, the alarm was only raised after he missed Father's Day lunch 5 days after he set out. This sparked a massive manhunt involving nearly 300 people and multiple agencies. While they searched, Lucas wandered the forest, slept on wet leaves, foraged for berries, and drank water he collected from his boots. Without a t-shirt or any supplies to start a fire, he developed hypothermia. He was stalked by a mountain lion, and things got really bad when he got injured after slipping on a wet rock face. Lucas lost over 30 pounds and spent the last 48 hours just lying there screaming for help. On day 10, a drone and a sniffer dog finally found him, and at last he was reunited with his family waiting for him on the forest's edge.
Man, goes to show you, everybody needs to have some natural, I guess, camping ability or skills, because you never know what could happen. Or you be put in that situation. Where's this guy?
Scariest interviews with serial killers. Serial killer John Hughes. John Hughes was convicted of 15 murders and sentenced to life in prison in 2010.
Damn.
When he was interviewed and asked if he would kill again, he said this.
Because you'd kill again.
More than positive. I got different thoughts. Then he was asked if he felt bad for the murders he had committed, and this is what he said.
You don't feel bad about killing anyone?
Not personally, that I've personally done myself, no.
Why?
Wrong place, wrong time. Follow for more.
Very eerie, man. No remorse.
Do you know how weird time is? If you have two twins that are 20 years old and you sent one of them to the star Sirius at 99% the speed of light and then flew back again, the twin who stayed on Earth would be 37 years old and the twin who was traveling would only be 22 years old. Every single person on Earth, including you, is living in the past because our brains don't perceive an event until about 80 milliseconds after it's already happened. It is a very fine line, but that's why some physicists argue that there's no such thing as the present moment. The way that you perceive the passing of time is heavily dependent on the language you use. People in most Western cultures perceive the passing of time as being left to right, because that's how we write, but other cultures perceive it as up to down, east to west, or right to left. Time is actually passing faster for your face than it is for your feet, because the closer you are to the center of the Earth, the slower time moves. A year at the top of Mount Everest is 15 microseconds shorter than it is at sea level.
Wow.
This strange creature be? An alien, or perhaps a demon? What we need to keep in mind is that when the body of a fur-bearing animal decays, especially if it's in a moist area or submerged in water, the fur will often fall off before the skin decomposes. And it is for that reason that I am very confident we are looking at nothing more than the corpse of a decomposing monkey.
Creepiest home camera footage. In 2017, a mother in Billings, Montana woke up in the middle of the night to a notification on her phone. Her phone was synced to a baby monitor she had set up in her infant daughter's room. On this night, upon being alerted, she opened the app expecting to see her daughter awake in the crib. But instead she saw this. A man she didn't know is seen crouched down in the room. She saw this and ran to the room to retrieve her daughter and run out the house. She didn't see anyone in the room but wasn't exactly looking. When she called the cops, they arrived and conducted a search of the home but didn't find anything. A very odd detail is that it was found that nothing but the remote to a dog shock collar was stolen from the house. Who this man is and how he got in the house is still unknown.
That's crazy. That's really like one of my worst fears. Like somebody's in your house and you have no idea they were there. Like, that's very creepy and eerie, man. How somebody can be in your house and they could be in that vicinity for so long and you have no idea. That's insane. That's the sky. Edit. Call it out like you see it. He's known for his edits.
These are things humans should never hear, part 1.
Okay.
What I'm about to show you is a simulation of what happened to Alaskan Flight 261 following a catastrophic loss of pitch control, killing all 88 people on board. This is real audio footage of the plane going down between the pilots and air traffic control. The plane went inverted, meaning it was flying upside down, and just listen to how calm the pilots are.
No survivors? So calm. Damn.
Genius People Who Beat the System, Part 1. This student was only allowed to have a one-page cheat sheet, so they wrote a whole page of notes in blue pen and another page in red pen. They then brought 3D glasses to class, so when they looked through the blue side, they could see the red pen, and when they looked through the red side, they could see the blue pen. This guy's new job required a photo of him in a suit for their new website. But since he doesn't own a suit, he just photoshopped his face over this guy's face, and honestly, it looks pretty real. A girl's dad went to Vegas for 5 days and put a camera in the living room to make sure she didn't have any parties. But the girl wasn't going to let that stop her from partying, so she came up with a pretty creative solution. This parking spot says only green vehicles can park there, but I think the owner of this car took that a bit too literally. This kid's mom told him that food wasn't allowed in the living room and his tablet wasn't allowed in the kitchen, so it's safe to say that he beat the system.
People, man. When they want to beat the system, they'll think of something. What the hell is that?
God. This creature, nay, this nightmare, is something so incredibly rare. It is likely that none of you have ever heard tell of its kind before. It's called a turtle.
What?
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 4. The Grinch has a well-known backstory about hating Christmas. However, eventually in the movie, his heart grows 3 sizes and he loves Christmas once again. But this story may continue longer than we think. It is clear that the Grinch isn't exactly right in the head, but during one of the Grinch's wacky stunts, he could have gotten a head injury. This injury would later take a toll on him as he grew old and caused him to lose his memory. After him and his dog died, they were given a new life in a realm called Halloween Town, where they now lived as Jack Skellington in Zero. He later reunites with his love for Christmas, just like he had when he was alive. Both eventually wear a Santa suit, both deliver presents, and both have a dog companion. It may be possible that How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Nightmare Before Christmas are tied together.
Connected, man? Media's connecting?
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you. There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
That's some crazy info, especially about those mannequins outside the house. I think somebody commented on, like, they gave a reason why that's there, but need to check that out again. But the things we heard about the saying when the skin lined vegan suit, there was a lot of rumors that some weird stuff was going on behind that movie. So, and you know how Hollywood is nowadays. So now imagine back in the days what was going on then.
Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal. 10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Damn. It kind of sounds like a Wakanda freaking like origin story. How the metal just fall to earth and they just made weapons out of it or just forged it. It's actually insane. The parallels between those two freaking
when the bravest bear in history was just a cub, his mother was slain by hunters, and the poor orphan was carried off to a train station in Iran. But when he was rescued by Polish soldiers fleeing the Soviet Union, they bottle-fed him back to health with milk and honey, and on cold nights he even cuddled up next to them in their tents. Imitating the soldiers, he learned how to smoke, drink, and wrestle, and when the men went on patrol, he'd march alongside them on his hind legs. When a spy broke into the Polish camp, he sniffed him out while hiding in the showers, and when the intruder laid eyes on his furry foe, his panic scream alerted every soldier within miles to his presence. But when the Poles boarded British boats bound for the Italian campaign of World War II, they were presented with a strict policy prohibiting pets on their ships. Yet not willing to leave the brown bear behind, they found a loophole and formally enrolled him into the Polish army as a private. During the famous Battle of Monte Cassino, the Germans had fortified a monastery upon a hill and had devastatingly repulsed 3 prior attacks. But carrying crates of ammunition that would normally require 4 strong men, the courageous cub charged up the hill, successfully resupplying the Polish artillery. And even in the face of heavy enemy fire, he never dropped a single crate, allowing Allied forces to capture the stronghold and gaining promotion to corporal for his bravery. After the war ended, the Iron Curtain prevented the Poles from returning home, and so the brave bear was brought to a zoo in Scotland, where he was frequently visited by his fighting friends, who'd often bring him treats and jump into his enclosure for a good wrestle. And it's said that for the rest of his life, he would happily stand up and salute whenever he heard Polish. When you're the most ferocious furry fighting force to ever fight for the free world, they don't just call you the bravest bear, they call you Corporal Wojtek.
Could you live on a pillar for decades without coming down? It sounds impossible, but this was actually a way of life that emerged around the 5th century CE in the Eastern Roman Empire. These Christian ascetics were known as stylites. They would eat, sleep, fast, write, all on top of a pillar for years without coming down. They would rely on the locals to give them food. The earliest known stylite was a man named Simeon. He was a Christian ascetic from the 5th century CE, near the city of Aleppo in Syria. He wanted to be left alone, so he climbed up a pillar. But he actually became more popular when he climbed up and started living on here, so his plan sort of backfired. He ended up spending around 37 years living on a pillar. Travelers would climb up ladders to reach him just to have a conversation. Certainly an interesting way of life.
How the hell they stayed up there for so long?
So this preacher from Zimbabwe claims he can walk on air.
Okay. Is this an edit?
Well, I'm convinced. Hail Messiah! There's definitely no other explanation for why his feet were off the ground, like people on the side holding him up. That's definitely not what happened. It's not like you can see the shadow of the door closing on his left when you slow down the footage. Just shut up and tell me where to donate my money. I mean, come on, it's not like people use religion to scam people. I mean, yes, the preacher has a nicer house than all of us, but then again, he walks on air and we don't.
Case closed.
Is he scamming like that? And people will believe in it?
Terrifying sounds extinct animals used to admit, and the last one's the worst. If you don't know this extinct mega chicken, you must be living your life under a rock. This is a dodo bird. 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, and a pair of chicken wings that are more useless than a penguin's. It can make an omelet for a family and produce a sound that would cause me to move to Mars. The lizard that got into your bag of tread, the velociraptor. Or should I say Jurassic myth, because like this at all. Hollywood lied to you. At least the film's fuck-up looks more like a Utah raptor. This is actually what a velociraptor looks like. It's basically also just a giant chicken. Moving 25 miles per hour and hunting in packs isn't the scary part. It's the way they sound. The only difference between this next animal and my meat is that it went extinct, the Titanoboa. And if this BGC's length at 50 fuck-no feet isn't impressive enough, how about its 3 feet in girth? This twisty telephone pole could squeeze at 400 psi, crushing any 20-foot crocodile that lived at the time. Damn. And this no-bro makes a sound like no other. The extinct blubberbuzz that used to swallow the megalodon, the Leviathan whale. This living sea monster is a distant cousin of our daily sperm whale.
What?
Except unlike the living lobe we have today that primarily consumes giant squid, the Leviathan had no predators and ate everything. And the sound alone is enough to terrify me. Congratulations, you made it to the final animal. And I'm sorry you have to hear this, but the T-Rex doesn't actually look this way. Real-life Reptar looks much more terrifying with a haircut like Grandpa. And boy, do I have news for you. Their arms weren't useless. It said that they could have bench pressed up to 400 pounds. And did I mention they can also swim? The sound they made is weird, but the closest relative they have alive today is also weird. It's the chicken. I'm so sorry it had to end this way.
What?
Enjoy.
Okay. Chicken is related to the T-Rex. The more you know.
Sorry for being so unprofessional. Whoa! Wow! No way!
It's an edit.
Hey, my name is Ajax, and in case you didn't know, I am the first and only animal made to make music born of rock, star, dust, and mold.
How many of you guys remember this girl? She went absolutely viral in 2020 for making faces in court. But before we get into her story, my name is Ashley, and if you guys like crime, creepy, and unbelievable stories, check out my YouTube channel or my TikTok for more content. So this girl's name is Isabella Guzman, and in 2013, she fatally stabbed her mother over 79 times. The video that went viral was actually from 2013, but somehow it took 7-8 years for it to reach mass audience. So initially, Isabella was quite young when she started exhibiting a lot of behavioral issues. She was living with her mother at the time, but when she was 7 years old, she was sent to live with her father. After a few years went by, her father then sent her to go live with her mother again when she was a teenager. And in August of 2013, the relationship between Isabella and her mother quickly deteriorated. They were fighting quite often, and on August 27th, they had an argument that ended with Isabel spitting in her mother's face. The following morning, Isabella's mother received an email saying, "You will pay." Obviously, she was terrified and didn't know what else to do with her daughter, so she called the police. The police arrived to her home and then talked to Isabella, telling her that if she didn't straighten up, that her mother could legally kick her out of the house. Isabella's mother then called her biological father to come talk to Isabella. He came over to their house and had a long talk with her in the backyard, talking to her about respect. According to him, he thought that they had made a lot of progress, but then a few hours later, everything changed. August 28, 2013, around 9:30 p.m., Isabella's mother, Yeonmi Hoi, arrived home. Told her husband she was going to head upstairs and take a shower. That's when her husband hears these awful screams coming from upstairs. Obviously, he runs upstairs to see what's wrong, and when he gets to the bathroom, he sees Isabella slamming the bathroom door shut, locking herself and her mother in the bathroom. He tried as hard as he could to get that door open, but it was locked. All he heard was screaming and an obvious struggle going on. Then he saw blood seeping through the bottom of the door and called 911. Then, as the door was opening, he heard his wife say the word Jehovah, and then Isabella walked out of the bathroom with a bloody knife. Apparently, Isabella didn't say a single thing, just stared at him and walked away like nothing had happened. Runs into the bathroom to check on his wife when he discovers that she had been brutally stabbed 79 times. Unfortunately, she passed away. By the time police arrived, Isabella had run away from the home, but police quickly found her the following day, hiding in a nearby parking garage. On September 5, 2013, Isabella was brought into court for the first time, and that's where we see the video of her making all these faces. Later find out that Isabella was actually suffering from schizophrenia and had delusions for years. According to her, she didn't remember that she was stabbing her mother. She thought that she was stabbing a woman named Cecilia in order to save the world. The judge accepted her plea of mental insanity and sentenced her to a mental facility. In June 2021, Isabella was given permission to leave the hospital for her therapy sessions. She has expressed remorse for what happened, but also said that her mother was extremely abusive towards her.
Dr. Disrespect was sent to jail this morning. This tweet is going viral for literally exposing him. I don't want to read some of this stuff on TikTok because this video might get taken down. So a former Twitch employee just exposed him for... Oh my gosh. There's no name that was mentioned for the person that he was doing it to, but it has came out that it was Dr. Disrespect. Now, as a lot of people know, Dr. Disrespect has been banned off of Twitch for like a couple of years now. The reason was always unknown. Dr. Disrespect, even on stream, say like, I can't say like why I was banned on Twitch. It's like a whole legal thing right now. Basically, you couldn't leak it because it was all legal and like you just couldn't tell all of his audience. The fact that he was hiding something that maybe was this is... That is so disgusting, dude. But he doesn't, like, I know you can't really say that. He doesn't look like a person that would do that. Like, bro is a white, bro has millions of dollars. I don't think he would ever do something like that. That's exactly what the comments say underneath this tweet. Fake news, the information isn't confirmed by Twitch. Honestly, this whole tweet is just speculation. Let me know if y'all think this is true, and what do y'all think about this? Dr. Disrespect was actually talking to a minor. He just confirmed this on Twitter. This wasn't a joke. Everybody thought the news was fake, and that's why he was banned on Twitch, because he was talking to someone underage inappropriately, but no. This is the tweet that he just tweeted. I'll just cut to the juicy part of it. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. He was speaking to someone underage, which is fine, right? These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate. I guess Twitch saw that in his DM, and that's why he got banned. Oh, that's insane that he literally admitted this. That's actually crazy. He did say, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened. No pictures, no crimes. But you know, that's good. I mean, it was just Twitch whispers. But like, bro, this is so surprising. Like, he has a kid. He's a fam, multi-millionaire, like 6'6". Like, you would never think a guy like this would ever get in, like, you'd never think he would get caught up in something like this. Yeah, what do y'all think about this? Apparently, he didn't do anything illegal, but the rumors were true. This is what all this...
That's crazy, man. Dr. Disrespect, you know, is one of the biggest streamers in the world. I don't understand why people in positions like that, they always... It's like they can't control themselves. They always have to do something immoral, man. Man, people was always wondering why he got banned. I still remember he got freaking banned on Twitch or something like that. It was trending, and people kept asking why. But he could never give an answer. But now, I guess you know why. You wouldn't want something like that to come out. That's basically going to end his career. I don't know how we're going to come out from this. Never in a million years would people think this was the reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned.
Streamers had to say about Dr. Disrespect. Explicit messages to a minor. This is the saddest one of all, Tim the Tatman. As you know, Dr. Disrespect and Tim the Tatman went way back. They always played games together. I remember watching Tim the Tatman stream, and he was like all excited to play with dogfiling once he switched over to YouTube. Now that this came out, he posted this very sad story on Twitter. It was like, if the messages are true, then I just can't see myself playing with them, which makes sense. You can't support this type of behavior. By the way, guys, this isn't a made-up rumor. He did do this. He literally tweeted that the answer is yes, he did send Twitch messages to a individual that was a minor back in 2017, and they did. Some of them weren't inappropriate. It's crazy seeing everybody respond. Jacksepticeye guy says effing disgusting when he puts like the tweet out. Pokimane just tweets out yuck. That's crazy. Ray says, Dr. Disgusting, 40,000 likes, that's insane. Even Nadia responds, never mind, who cares about Nadia? My bad. And of course Nick Merckx responded, I'm not going to put that up on here. Get a lot of extra stuff to say, so I'll go on Twitter and look at that. I don't know, man, the guy's like 6'6", millions of dollars, his family, kids, and he was doing this type of stuff. And even though this was a while ago, this was a couple years ago that he got banned on Twitch, I don't know, what do y'all think about this? This is really sad.
by this person who he thought was a woman. In 2023, this 26-year-old Indonesian man named AK met Adinda Kansa on Instagram, where they hit it off and eventually met in person and started their relationship.
Catfish.
Throughout their relationship, Adinda wore a hijab that covered her head, her face, except for her eyes because of her religion. A year later, they got married and had a very small ceremony with only AK's family attending, and Adinda's family was not there because she said that her entire family had passed away. After they tied the knot, AK became extremely suspicious of his new wife because she constantly avoided any intimacy and was always making excuses. But also, AK said that Adinda was wearing her hijab at home at all times, so at this point he knew that she was hiding something. He then began searching for any information he could find on his wife, and that's when he found her old address, and when he went to go visit that home, he found her parents, which she said were dead. The parents told AK that Adinda is actually a man, and they had no idea that they got married. Adinda was arrested, and after an investigation was done, it was determined that he intended to marry AK so that he can steal his family's assets. Adinda was charged with fraud, and if convicted, he faces up to 4 years in prison.
Whatever you
guys think that should be the fate for all catfishes out there, man? Because that's basically what it was. We're gonna call a spade for a spade. That was a catfish. Like, how the hell? But how did he let it go that far, man? He got married to him and he didn't even know. That's mind blowing, man. If you're going on with somebody, man, you got to do your research nowadays. That's crazy.
You never go searching for this video. These 5 friends were forced to kill each other by the Mexican cartel. These 5 young, aged from 19 to 22, were looking for some sort of employment, and they were promised a high-paying job at a call center. But when the alleged contact was taking them to meet the people for the job, it actually turned out to be a whole scheme to recruit them to the Mexican cartel. And when all 5 of these boys said they didn't want to join, the cartel then said okay and tied them up, taped their mouth and took a picture, and then recorded one of the friends killing all the other 4 friends. And after that, they put the 5th one, who just killed all of his friends, into a car and set it on fire. I am telling you right now, do not go searching for this video because you will find it. And trust me, you do not want to see something like this. This case is absolutely horrific, and the fact that this happens way more often than we think is just extremely scary and disturbing. It's just sad that these young men were just trying to get a job and make some money for themselves. But instead, it turned into a living nightmare. Rest in peace, these 5 young men.
Here's one more reason to be terrified of the ocean. Of course, it's scary when the sea is stormy, but according to Japanese legend, you should be more afraid of calm waters. Because that is when the umibozu is said to rise from the deep. This ghostly, pitch-black figure will not only scare you into a state of shock, but it will then throw you overboard and drown you in the sea.
It is criminal that no one knows what this guy is doing right now. A man is attempting to become the first person ever to walk the entire length of the United States barefoot. He started his over 5,000 kilometer walk in February, and as you'd imagine, his feet have already taken an absolute battering. He's already had to walk through snow, which he says was so cold that it makes every pebble feel like you're walking over a Lego brick. But if the cold wasn't bad enough, he will soon have to walk through the Midwestern summer heat, which will easily reach temperatures of over 100 degrees. And because of that, similar to Russ Cook running through the Sahara, he says that he's going to have to walk overnight because during the day, the paving will just be too hot. He's almost been hit multiple times by massive semi-trucks not paying attention and pushing him off the road. The nerve endings on his feet are so bruised from stepping on rocks that it keeps him up at night. He's had really bad infections that haven't had enough time to heal, because if he does take days off and doesn't make it to New York before the winter, he is screwed. And the part which just blows my mind, he's doing all of this to raise awareness for men's mental health. Despite this amazing cause and what he's putting himself through, he has only 139 followers on TikTok and only 412 on YouTube. I mean, that should be illegal. He's got about 6 months of walking left to do. So please, let's show this man some support and push him through.
That's crazy, man. He's doing that for a good cause, and hopefully, man, just catches some fire, catches some heat, so more people are aware of that. Barefoot, too? That's a different type of breed right there, man.
Have you heard the creepy story behind this photo?
What?
She's been named the Expressionless. Well, the story takes place in June of 1972. Hospital employees were very shocked and scared when this woman entered the hospital wearing a blood-soaked gown. What was terrifying is that she had no emotion on her face. When the doctors went to sedate her to see what was wrong, she started to fight back. This is her in that very moment. Now this is a creepypasta, but some believe that this photo is actually true and that this is a real creepy-ass woman. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Photos from his...
This is a real sign in a city called Davao in the Philippines, and there's a lot of history behind it. Now, as you can see in the sign, it says, "Waving children, please wave back," with a pair of children with their arms up. This sign serves as a warning to everyone passing by that there are ghosts of children in the area. It's believed there's a ton of supernatural activity all around the area, and if you don't wave back, these children will come and haunt you. Upon researching the story, I haven't found anyone reporting that they haven't waved back to any of the children. I've only heard accounts of people waving back and then being okay afterwards. So with that information in my head, I can only assume the worst happens if you don't wave back. So obviously, if you're traveling in the Philippines and you see a child wave to you, wave back for your own safety. The last thing you want is a ghost child following you and haunting you for the rest of your life. Let me know what you guys think about this. I also covered a video on the Aswang, which is another Filipino urban legend. Very scary stuff. Definitely go check that out. And if you have any suggestions, let me know.
You guys waving back, man? I wouldn't want no ghosts, no spirits, bad energy, juju following me, so I'll have to wave back. I don't need that following me around.
This is a true horrifying story, part 32. In parts 25, 26, and 27, I warned you all about the most dangerous book that was ever written, Shams al-Ma'arif. This book is a portal to the world of jinns and demons. There's a person that read this book, and this person faces traumatic incidents every single day. She's a woman from Jordan. She graduated university being the top-graded student. She is a genius. She has read hundreds of novels. She had a strong passion for books. She heard about this book called Shams al-Ma'arif. She couldn't live knowing that there's a book that has a strong story behind it without reading it. After many months of trying to find the real copy of this book, she heard about an old man that lives in Jordan that had an ancient copy of Shams al-Ma'arif. She got in touch with him, and he refused to sell the book, but she didn't quit. It took her many weeks to finally buy the book off of him. She goes back home and immediately starts reading the book. After she read the first few chapters of the book, she felt kind of hungry, so she decided to go to the kitchen and prepare some food and then continue reading. As she goes into the kitchen, she opens the oven and a gale of fire burns her face. She spent 3 weeks in the burn unit rehabilitation. The oven was switched off. No one knows till this day where the flames came from. She had multiple plastic surgeries to recover her facial features, but till this day, her face is not what it used to be. After recovery, she goes home weeks later and she looks for the book, knowing that the jinn was the reason she was harmed. She tried to find the book for many days, but it was lost. Years go by. She was home watching TV one day. She came across an Islamic channel that had a live interview program. An old man was being interviewed on this channel. He was asked by the imams about the dangers of a black magic book that he owns. His body was very unusual and his face was burned off. He got a book from under the table and he said this: "I once sold this book to a young woman a long time ago, and the demons warned me not to stop my rituals, and if I gave the book away, they would burn my face and they would burn hers. And after I gave the book, I woke up the next day without my normal face. And the book I sold to that woman was right there, laying next to me on bed. I knew that it was the jinns that brought the book back to me. And this is when I strengthened my iman and I quit black magic." Quote, this was all said on TV, and the poor girl was just standing there, watching the same man speak. The man on TV was the man that gave her the book. The book he showed on TV was the book he handed to her. That was the book that was lost. The book that she was looking for.
Damn, it sounded like she got tempted by that knowledge. She just couldn't turn it down. Look what happened. Like some bad spirits was following her. Like the book, the part I'm trying to figure out is how the book, like it just went back to the man's house. Did he take it back, or was it just there the next day? That's something to think about.
This is Tragedy by the Sea, one of the most disturbing and sad photos of all time. Okay, so first glance at this photo, you just think it's a couple arguing at the beach, right? But believe it or not, this photo might have the most unsettling and disturbing backstory ever. On the morning of April 2nd, 1954, Los Angeles Times photographer named John Gaunt, who was pictured in the middle of this photo, was relaxing on his front yard of his beachfront house when he heard a neighbor shout, "Something's happening on the beach." He then instinctively grabbed his camera and rushed over to see the horrified couple clutching each other on the beach. On the shore stood a young couple named Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, and their body language made John's stomach turn. He realized that someone must be lost, and he then took a photograph from 200 yards away. Only then did he learn that just moments before, the couple's 19-month-old son Michael, who had been playing in the yard, had wandered down to the beach and crawled into the violent waters while they weren't looking. Despite the back and forth efforts by the parents, there was nothing they can do but just wait. Unfortunately, later that day, the child's dead body was washed up about a mile away on the beach. And this photo, titled "Tragedy by the Sea," appeared on the front page of the Times the very next day. John Gaunt then won the 1955 Pulitzer Prize Award, calling the photo poignant and profoundly moving. But he also received heavy criticism for capitalizing on the family's tragedy for his photo opportunity. But now, take a look at this photo, knowing everything you do, and tell me it's not one of the saddest and most disturbing photos ever.
Let's talk about this picture. Captured in 2008 by Daniel Young, this is one of the only pieces of evidence that this encounter actually happened. So Daniel was a custodian at Myrtle Elementary School where he worked the night shift. It's a pretty routine night. He's just listening to music when he's suddenly interrupted by the sound of a woman's laughter. He turned around and was terrified when he saw an unknown woman smiling from behind the corner. This was a locked school on after hours, so clearly she was an adult who broke in, so he tried to snap a picture to identify her and then chases after her. But when he turned the corner, she had already darted out of an emergency exit. Later that night, police are called to a home where they arrive at a tragedy. An unknown woman had broken into a nearby home where she knifed two parents, one who was the principal of this school, so brutally they were unrecognizable. One of the daughters who witnessed this woman before she got away described her as this person. Could this photo be of the same unknown woman? And what her connection is to the school and the principal, we don't know.
Most disturbing videos in the world. Episode 6. This picture contains a list of disturbing videos from the least scary to the most. This will be my scariest series ever. Welcome to Tier 7 because we skipped a couple of them. And honestly today we're gonna skip directly to Tier 10. The first video is titled Funky Town. This video single-handedly could be the worst video the internet has ever had. Now obviously I can't show the video here, but I can tell you everything you need to know about it. And please remember, don't look this up, trust me. It shows a man, getting executed, in which they remove the man's face all while he's still alive. And lots of other stuff start happening, and in the background of the video, the song Funky Town starts playing. You know this song? Yeah, that one. Make sure to like and follow because I start my brand new series tomorrow.
Those videos, man, where they always had to like break it down and explain. It's always chilling, man, and I take them at their word. I never looked it up because I don't need that in my mind, but the way they break it down with the details, especially about Sebastian on Tank 22, we know, man. Crazy how people can even do that to another human being. Edit, man. You guys, I want to see y'all guys call out the edits, man, down below as well. If y'all guys can spot them out, because I might miss some too. Y'all can correct me, man. We all the community, yo. So.
This is the disturbing moment. This woman laughed in court after she took this 3-year-old's life in a random attack. On June 3rd, police received numerous phone calls about a stabbing at a grocery store parking lot in Ohio. At around 3 p.m. on this day, 38-year-old Margot Wood was loading groceries into her car while her 3-year-old son, Julian, sat in his car seat. That's when 32-year-old Bianca Ellis entered the car and began stabbing the little boy. When Margot noticed, she tried to stop the attacker, and as a result, she was also wounded. Julian was then rushed to the hospital where he unfortunately passed away. Now, what's disturbing was that this was a random attack, and after looking at surveillance footage, the attacker was seen following the mother and the child in and out of the grocery store. Then, when Bianca was brought into court, the judge began reading out the indictment, and she was seen smiling and laughing the entire time. And after an assessment was done on Bianca, there arguing that she has bipolar disorder and had a psychotic break, which explains why she did what she did. And this story only gets crazier. Before this incident, Bianca confessed to another murder in Bakersfield, and she even gave details of what she did with this person's body. She also warned officers that if she wasn't arrested, she was going to murder someone and eat their flesh. But none of this was taken too serious, and she was released from the mental institution, and not long after, she committed this heinous crime.
So, let's talk about the most disturbing animated film ever made that has been banned all over the world. 1992's Midori. Our main character is 12-year-old Midori. After her mother becomes extremely ill, she is tricked into joining a traveling circus. And these are some of the fine people that she is surrounded by every day. The film contains a lot of very explicit scenes of violence and other things towards young Midori. The film is also known for its animal content. When it was originally released, Midori was banned all over the world, including in its own home country of Japan. And I can definitely see why. I'm not kidding when I say this is probably the most graphic, strange, animated film that has probably ever been made. And this is most certainly not a film for a lot of people. It's a film I really don't feel like I can recommend, but there are lots of very interesting discussions around the morality of this film. And if you've seen this film, I'd love to know what you guys think of it.
Hell no, I didn't even know that film existed. It really was banned. All of them. It's always people in those positions, man. Power.
Number 10 is Saddam Hussein. We all remember Saddam. Number 9, Kim Jong-il, who is the uncle and the former leader of Kim Jong-un of North Korea, and he was even worse than Kim Jong-un. Like, even though Kim Jong-un is bad, like, we got a step up from Kim Jong-il. I remember reading that he once fed his family to dogs. Number 8 is Genghis Khan, the guy, you know, the Mongolia Chinese wall, the Great Wall of China, forced everybody to do that. Number 7, Heinrich Himmler, one of the right-hand men in the Nazi Party, was just all around evil. Number 6, Pol Pot, terrible man, maybe was one of the most ruthless killers in history. Number 5, Mao Zedong, the terrible emperor of China. Number 4, Osama bin Laden, the fool who committed 9/11 and went in hiding, and then we all forgot about him until Obama was like, we're actually going to go get him now, and I was like, thank God. Number 3, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler is the basis for the character of Dracula. His middle name was Dragula, and he was known for impaling his victims on sticks and posing them in front of the castle. Number 2, Joseph Stalin, who was the leader of Russia during World War II, and he was basically one of the most ruthless killers as well. He had concentration camps for the Russians that didn't support him, and millions of people died under him. If you like this list and want more lists about other nonsense, follow me. Leave me a comment with the most evil person in history in your book. Also follow my Instagram and fiance Samantha, who I've tagged. Number 1, I can't even say his name on TikTok, but we all know who it is. Evil Austrian mustache man.
Think twice before you answer the door on Halloween night. On Halloween night in 1984, a pregnant mom named Doreen Herbert heard the doorbell ring. She opened the door to find someone in a wolf mask holding a machete. This was like a scene straight out of a horror movie, and she was viciously slaughtered in front of her 4-year-old daughter. Special attention had been made to harm the fetus as well, and it was found under this chair. Luckily, when the attack started, her daughter hid behind the couch, and then the man in the wolf mask paced around the house looking for her. The man in the mask shouted that if she said anything, he was going to come back and kill her too. Crime scene investigators noticed a trail of blood leading from the house down the sidewalk and across the freeway to a nearby neighborhood. This attack happened shortly after her husband left to go to the store, and he came home just a few minutes after she died. But luckily, officers did their due diligence. Looking into Doreen's past, they found out she had a tumultuous marriage with her ex-husband, Michael Dennis. And they actually had a child that drowned under Doreen's supervision in 1980. 2 years later, this distraught ex sued Doreen for the death of their child, but lost in court. And just hours after the murder, the police paid a visit to Michael Dennis. He was calm and collected and gave consent to search, but as he reached out to sign the form, they noticed a gash on his hand. He said he got this injury from carving pumpkins the day before, but they noticed that the blood was still clotting.
Nah.
He began to walk detectives up towards his bedroom and lunged towards the bed. And they were luckily able to tackle him before he grabbed his revolver. And also inside the house, they found blood near the washing machine, and blood was all over his car door handle and steering wheel.
Caught him.
His past girlfriend also said that the previous Halloween, he went to a party wearing a wolf mask, pictured here. Michael Dennis was charged for the death of Doreen and her unborn child. And due to the brutality, he was actually given the death penalty. Michael Dennis had never moved on and hated Doreen for finding love and having another. And I have to say, if you've lost a child, Halloween is probably a really difficult day to look outside and see kids running around everywhere. But that does not excuse his actions. Let me know what case you want me to cover next and follow for more true crime.
It is wild. This is actually happening. Celebrities are now losing thousands of followers in an unprecedented TikTok trend where people are deliberately blocking the rich and famous so that they lose their sponsorships, their brand deals, and ultimately money. And you know what? It's working. So here's how the blockout trend started, and more interestingly, why. This is Hailey Bailey. She's a model and a content creator, and she doesn't know it yet, but she's about to trigger a massive digital revolution against the world's celebrities and herself, all with one video.
Let them eat cake.
But to understand why what she did here caused so much outrage, we need to go back to the 1800s. I'm not even joking, the Queen of France in 1774 has somehow triggered a massive revolution on TikTok in 2024. Marie Antoinette was actually the last queen before the French Revolution, because at a time where the country was in extreme debt and the people were living in poverty and famine, Marie was seen living a lavish lifestyle and spending huge amounts of money on unnecessary things. For example, she was best known for her extreme looks and love for fashion. Her annual clothing budget alone was equivalent to today's $3.6 million. That's $300K a month. But ironically, what she is most remembered for is the time that she was told that the public were starving and they didn't have enough bread to eat, to which she replied, "Let them eat cake." And I say it's ironic because it's believed that she never actually even said this. Regardless, the public's anger grew and led to a revolution and ultimately her execution. So back to 2024 when Hailey Bailey dressed up as Marie Antoinette and used a trending sound saying "let them eat cake" while outside the Met Gala, where tickets cost more than the average down payment for a house. She quickly became the modern Marie Antoinette and triggered the blockout revolution. Now since then, she has apologized and said she didn't know the implications of that quote before she used it. And while the anger started with just her video, with one of the top comments saying "we're giving you the Marie Antoinette experience," it quickly grew to all of the celebrities that attended that event and beyond. The Hunger Games societal disparity became the movement theme, with hundreds of people commenting "watching from District 12." Creators started making videos showing off their own daily celebrity block lists, and the people who joined the trend say that the movement is simple. Just like how the French people's taxes were funding Antoinette's lavish lifestyle while they starved, today the public's attention is often what funds these celebrities' lifestyles. And so people say if they're using this attention money similar to Antoinette on massive unnecessary displays of wealth, or while people around the world struggle and starve, that attention and therefore money will be removed. And that's how and why the block trend started. So the question is, do you agree with this trend or...
News for year-old Riker Webb after his rescue on June 5th. Riker has been found hungry, thirsty and cold, but in good health after going missing for 2 days near his home in Montana. He was last seen playing with the family's dog. After disappearing, police received a concerned call from a neighbor and began searching. A code red was sent to all nearby residents as teams combed through dense vegetation in the area. He was found on Pine Ridge Road, about 2.5 miles from where he'd last been seen.
Scary.
The boy in this photo, Martin Bryant, would grow up and kill 35 people in 24 hours. Martin was born in Australia in 1967, and growing up, his mother described him as a bit different. He would bully his classmates at school and really liked to torture and kill animals. This behavior caused him to be evaluated by a psychologist who determined that he had an IQ of 66, meaning he legally has a mental disability. At age 14, Martin's father Maurice purchased him an air rifle, and the kid would use it to shoot at birds and passing cars, earning him the nickname Silly Martin. In 1993, his dad tries to buy a bed and breakfast near a place called Port Arthur, but before Maurice could get the money, another couple purchases it, causing him to go into a deep depression. This event set Martin off the deep end, causing him to craft a plan for revenge. On April 28th, 1996, Martin drives to Port Arthur with guns and ammo and proceeds to kill the old couple who had purchased the B&B. He then proceeds to take the lives of 33 others in the area before being taken into custody a few hours later. This incident causes the Australian government to reform their gun laws, making it near impossible for people to purchase a rifle or a shotgun similar to the ones Martin had used in the shooting. He pleads guilty to 35 counts of murder, and Martin Bryan is sentenced to 1,035 years in prison.
That was a chilling story, man. Life was gone 2 years ago, so who was he talking to?
Robert Picton was a farmer and a serial killer. He would lure young women into his trailer, where he would inject them with antifreeze or strangle them. He would butcher their bodies like a farm animal and feed them to pigs. But that's not the most disturbing part. He would take what was ever left of their flesh and guts and grind it up with pork, and then he would turn it into sausage and other meats and feed it to people. Not only would he give the sausages to neighbors, but he took the meat to a piggy farm concert and would give the meat out to everybody at the concert. So not only are they eating animals, but they're eating humans too. He began these murders in 1980 and wasn't caught until 2002. So who knows how many people he was feeding humans to.
It took him 12 years to get caught and he was feeding humans to people. They're the most disturbing people I've heard yet, man, watching these clips.
Charles Manson. Little backstory, he had a rough upbringing. When his mom had him, she was 16 years old. Apparently, she was at a bar one day, and the bartender was like, wow, what I would do to have like such a beautiful baby like that. Apparently, his mom was like, give me a beer and you can have the baby. Apparently, the bartender gave her a beer, she drank it, and gave her the baby. Then apparently, it took like 2 weeks, and his uncle is the one that went and found the bartender and got him back. He did commit a lot of crimes growing up, basically throughout his entire life, that the list is insane, dude. Things I never even knew he did. Like, it went from robbery to running an underground casino. It all kind of got a little serious when he was 18 and got caught sexually assaulting a boy at knife point. Then went to jail and then sexually assaulted 3 more men in jail. He got out, got married, then got a divorce a year later, and then started seeing a 16-year-old. Eventually ended up getting married to a prostitute named Candy, and then they got a divorce when he got arrested again. He said he fell in love with Scientology and music. So in 1967, he was released from jail and he moved to San Francisco, and he joined this hippie group where they preached about like LSD and like being free and like leaving and stuff like that. And that's where Charles actually started forming his own cult. And a lot like Ted Bundy, where he was a very charismatic dude, like people were very fond of him. In this hippie group, he started getting females that like wanted to follow him basically, and then he moved them over to Swan Ranch in California. His community just kept getting bigger. He released a song with Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys, which I didn't know, and that really boosted him up in the society's eyes, and a lot of people started moving to this ranch, and they say it got upwards to like toward 100 people. And all of a sudden one day,
so he made it cult building out. Sometimes kids can sense those things.
The ever experience. And I hope you never have to experience this or any of the illnesses that we've talked about before, because
you couldn't even see what he was talking about.
This is why you should always take your lockdown drills seriously. In 2017, 2 16-year-olds were in their school bathroom when the lights suddenly went out and their school went into lockdown. Feeling rebellious, they decide, you know what, let's go explore the school a little bit first, and then we'll go follow procedure. They step out of the bathroom and look down the hall towards their classroom, and they see this large figure standing in front of their classrooms. It's definitely not a student, it's not a teacher. He's got ragged clothes on and he starts walking towards them. They dart right back into the bathroom to the corner stall where they hide, praying that that man didn't see them. The man bursts in and starts yanking open all the stalls.
Not wanting to see what happens when he gets to their stall, they get on the ground and start crawling to the side of the room, where they finally get up and make a run for the door. They look back and he's holding a gun. The boys manage to get away safely and no one's hurt, but the police never capture the ragged man.
Ragged man?
Humans Can Lick 2, Part 2. When the girl woke up in the middle of the night, she heard a strange dripping noise coming from the bathroom, but she thought it's just the sink faucet, probably needs to be fixed. And again, she stuck her hand under her bed so that her dog could lick it, and her dog did lick it. Around 6 a.m., she noticed headlights pulling into her driveway, which meant that her parents were home. So she thought, great, they can just take care of the dripping faucet. She got up to use the restroom and greet her parents when she was greeted by something else. In the restroom, draped over the shower curtain rod, was a lifeless body, which had been skinned, and that's what was making dripping noise. The girl ran back to her bedroom to get a weapon when she noticed a note on the floor right by her bed, and it said, "Humans Can Lick 2," written in wood. So if you didn't quite catch on, in the middle of the night when the girl woke up, her dog was no longer under her bed. It was a serial killer.
Whoa. Is that cap
This
fact?
is 19-year-old Austin Harif, a college student better known as the Cannibal Killer, after attacking a random couple in 2016. In the summer of 2016, Austin had just finished up his freshman year at Florida State and was living with his family west of Palm Beach. Everything was normal on the night of August 15th until he suddenly left their family dinner without saying why. Austin walked more than 3 miles before coming across John and Michelle Stevens, who were just enjoying the night and having a beer in their garage. The next thing that anyone knew, a neighbor heard horrible screams coming from their driveway and called 911. Authorities responded to the scene to find 2 dead bodies and Austin attempting to eat the face of one of his victims. He actually almost had to be killed, as authorities couldn't get him to stop even after using a taser and their police dogs. An autopsy reported that the couple died of blunt force trauma and stab wounds, and Austin claims to have no memory of killing them or why he did it. Just before the murders, he reportedly went from a normal and outgoing college student to believing that he was half animal and half man. In the weeks prior, Austin moved his bed to his family's garage to avoid demons, and he would patrol the house at night instead of sleeping. While there is no excuse for what happened, I do agree with the prosecution suggesting that he was truly in a psychotic episode when the attack occurred. He is currently awaiting his trial today.
Half man, half animal.
Your parents, you should have been better. You should have done more. You failed miserably. And because you failed as parents, my sister and brother-in-law are dead. Did you really sit here for the past 6 years believing that toxicology report, thinking he didn't do drugs? No one in your family has taken any responsibility for what has happened, not even you. I hate you. I hate you all. I hate what you did. I really think you deserve to die, Austin. Your family deserves to suffer the way my family suffered. Judge Bauer, I hope there's a consideration, whether anyone thinks the defendant was insane or not, that allowing him back into society where he could do this to another family rests on you. I hope that he stays wherever you are sending him forever, and if not forever, for at least my lifetime. Or I hope society is ready to live with a person like you.
So that was her sister. Obviously, she said what she felt. I'm gonna follow up on that, man. See if they let him out or if he got life. Man, that was crazy.
First ever footage of Madeleine McKenna after the event.
Spotted on 4th of May 2007, one day after her disappearance, this girl had heterochromia and was seen to miles from the crime scene.
Wow. So
This is a man who killed his family twice. Gregory Green is a convicted murderer who completely failed at his second chance at life. In his early 20s, he married Tanya Green. It wasn't long into the marriage that Gregory started to show some signs of abusiveness, such as jealousy, anger, and violence. While Tanya was 6 months pregnant with Gregory's child, she threatened to leave him for good once she got home. But Tanya never got the chance because as soon as she got home, Gregory stabbed her with a steak knife 10 times, killing her and their unborn child. Gregory was given a 15 to 25-year sentence in prison, and during his time there, he was denied parole 4 times. However, during his time in prison, he gained lots of support from friends and family and grew really close to a pastor named Fred Harris, who helped him find God, and he was his biggest supporter of getting him out. In 2008, Gregory was released on parole after serving 16 years in prison, and after just 2 years on parole, he was a completely free man. Shortly after that, he married his second wife, Faith Harris Green, who was the daughter of the pastor he was working with in prison. They were married for 6 years, and Faith had a 19 and 17-year-old child from a previous marriage, and Gregory and Faith had a 5 and 6-year-old child. Over the course of their marriage, Gregory started to show the same signs of abusiveness as he showed before, and Faith also tried to file a restraining order but was denied. Things got really ugly in 2016 when Gregory poisoned his 2 young children that were sleeping upstairs, took Faith to the basement, tied her to a chair, and beat her. He then brought down his stepchildren and shot them in front of her. Faith survived the encounter, and Gregory was sentenced to prison yet again and won't be eligible for parole until he's 97 years old.
You really fell back in the same pattern again.
This is a true horrifying story, part 66. This story happened in the early 2000s. It was late at night. A woman was driving in an unfamiliar area. Her car was old and unreliable, and soon she realized that she had to make a stop for gas. Luckily, she came across a gas station in a few minutes. The gas station was very old-fashioned, in the middle of nowhere. But something about this gas station seems very off. Afraid that she might not find another gas station close by, she reluctantly pulled up and she asked an attendant to fill up the tank. The attendant seemed really nervous as he was filling up the tank, but he finished his job. He then moved towards her car window for payment. She hands him the money. He carefully examined it and told her that the bill was a counterfeit or a fake. The attendant explained that he would have to take her back inside in order to call his manager about the counterfeit bill, as it had to be reported to the bank. She got convinced. She goes inside and sits down. The attendant walks towards the station gates and locks the doors. He turns around and tells her the bill is not a counterfeit. At this point, she froze, thinking she's about to get abused. He tells her this: I had to get you out of the car because there was a man with a hatchet hiding in the back seat. This kind of crime is very common in the West. It is terrifying to realize that you were driving down the highway for a whole hour with another person hiding in your car, waiting for the right moment.
You saved her. You never know, man, what weirdos you're gonna freaking encounter. So he was in the car just waiting, plotting.
Creepy things kids have said, part 3. When I told my 3-year-old I was pregnant and had a baby in my belly, she kept saying no, 2 babies. A couple weeks later, it was confirmed I was having twins. Twins were thought to be boy and girl, but 3-year-old kept telling me they were sisters. So jokingly, we asked her when they would be born. She pointed to November 28th on the calendar. Sure enough, they were born on November 28th, 2012. 5-year-old, can I marry you? Me.
No, sorry, sweetie, I have a boyfriend.
5-year-old, what if he died? My daughter, from a severe brain injury when she was 11 weeks old, was in a coma for 3 days. For years afterwards, when it rained, she would comment, "Smells like God."
The true story of The Conjuring is creepier than the movie. In January 1971, Carolyn, Roger, and their 5 daughters moved into a 14-room farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. When the home seller passed the key to the family, he advised them, "Leave the lights on." They had no idea why, but soon they found out. Some nights when the children slept, would a spirit tuck them in and even kiss their foreheads. The evil force only got worse with time. Almost every night would Cindy, the second youngest daughter, hear spirits tell her, that there were 7 soldiers buried in the walls. The family looked into the old house history and discovered that the property had been in the same family for 8 generations, and many of them had died under unexplained or horrifying circumstances. Furthermore, a woman named Bathsheba Sherman lived on the Perrins property in the mid-1800s. She was rumored to have been a Satanist, and it was believed that it was Bathsheba's spirit that was tormenting them, and that is why...
For 8 generations? Some weird crap was going on?
Most of you guys don't even know who Jared is. In the early 2000s, this guy was the spokesman and face of the company Subway. The company originally caught wind of Jared when he lost over 200 pounds claiming to eat nothing but Subway sandwiches in less than 1 year. He was literally the face of their brand. Subway was paying him over $1 million a year, and they based their brand identity on Jared. They featured him in hundreds of commercials holding his famous oversized pants. He was even made fun of in a South Park episode. After so many years of being the face of Subway, Jared went on to start his own foundation in order to fight childhood obesity. Looking back at these photos is quite shocking and disturbing, considering what Jared was hiding this entire time. Both Jared and the foundation's director, Russell Taylor, had been involved in the creation and distribution of CP. Russell Taylor was busted in 2015 when a friend of his alerted the authorities that he had offered her pictures of this CP. When police raided his home, they found terabytes of this stuff. Taylor told police that all this footage was not for him, it was for his boss, Jared Fogle. The way this all started was that Taylor had security cameras in the offices of the foundation. He accidentally caught their underage intern having sex with her boyfriend in the office. Instead of reprimanding the young woman, Jared wanted to see the tape in full. And he forced Taylor to place more cameras throughout the building. Eventually started using the foundation to get closer to kids and even into their bedrooms, and started placing hidden cameras inside children's bedrooms across the city. They had accumulated terabytes of exposed children, amongst the more disturbing footage and imagery they got from the dark web. At this point in their relationship, Jared was paying for every single one of Taylor's expenses. Bought him a car, house, and paid for all of his family's medical expenses. According to court documents, Jared would say things like, "Daddy needs his pictures," and "Daddy's buying your things." Jared was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the possession and distribution of CP. Russell Taylor was sentenced to 27 years for sexual molestation and installing the security cameras. He pled guilty to 30 CP and sexual exploitation crimes. A year later, this piece of shit tried to appeal his case, claiming that the judge was biased because the judge had children. Let's hope he rots in jail. And that's the story of Subway's Jared. By the way, this is a fake pic.
That's crazy. Seek the truth.
And brutally killed and dismembered a university student before posting a video of the gruesome attack online. Luca Rocco Magnotta was born on July 24th, 1982 and grew up in Ontario, Canada with his parents and 2 siblings. On May 25th, 2012, Magnotta posted an 11-minute video to the website bestgore.com depicting himself stabbing and dismembering a naked man, later identified as 34-year-old international student Jun Lin. In the following days, 6 packages were sent to schools and political parties across Canada, all containing different parts of Lin's corpse. Police quickly identified the killer as Magnotta. However, by this time he had already fled the country, leading to a 2-week-long worldwide manhunt. On June 4th, 2012, Magnotta was apprehended by Berlin police, having used a fake name and passport to travel through Europe, and was quickly handed over to the Canadian authorities. On his return to Canada, Magnotta was tried and sentenced to life imprisonment, where he remains to this day. And that's how...
That's an insane story, bro.
You
Truly.
should never play the game called Blue Baby.
Who names the game Blue Baby?
So apparently this is a game about Bloody Mary's baby, and what you need to do to play the game is you need to be in a bathroom with a mirror and a sink and a door that can close. And you need to turn off all the lights, and you can only play this at night when everybody else is sleeping.
I already just can't play this game.
Yeah, so I saw the steps by Draw the Life Tic Tac, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to stand in front of the mirror in the bathroom and rock your arms as if you're rocking a baby. And you're supposed to say the phrase Blue Baby, Baby Blue 13 times in a row, and you can't mess up. And after you say that, you're actually supposed to start to feel weight in your arms as if there's actually a baby in your arm.
Are you serious? You actually start to feel something?
Yeah, and the weight's supposed to get heavier and heavier, and you're actually supposed to feel the baby start scratching your arms, but you shouldn't let the baby get too heavy. So to end the game, you need to throw the baby into the toilet and flush it and run out of the room as fast as you can and turn on all the lights in the house. And that means you made it out okay. But if you don't let go of the baby, Bloody Mary...
Nah, I don't play those games. Yeah, I got it.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 14.
There was a woman in the 18th century named Mary Toft who shoved dead rabbits inside of her and later acted as if she gave birth to them. And the doctors actually believed her until one of them discovered corn inside one of the rabbit's stomachs. More people have tapeworms than have dogs, which I guess makes them the most popular pet. Oh yeah, and this is what it looks like up close. So you know how every few pistachios you eat, there's always one that tastes a little bit different? Well yeah, it's because there's a dead navel orange worm inside of it. An octopus's penis is actually one of its tentacles, so if you ever got to pet one at SeaWorld, you might have just groped the damn thing. Dying from starvation is because your body used all of its resources in order to feed your brain. And as a last resort, it begins to digest the muscle around your most vital organs until all that's left is your heart. So you die by eating your heart.
I never knew that. That last part was
I just
shocking.
finished this documentary on Netflix, and I feel like no one's talking about it. Like, everyone's Dama. But no, I really need to speak to someone about this. So I have to come on and ask my 10 TikTok friends, like, fans. Have you guys watched Into the Deep, the Submarine murder case? I'm shook to my core, and I just need to talk to someone about it, like, I've just never seen anything about this, except, like, a couple of months ago, I saw some random, like, true crime TikTok being like, oh, there's a case about a guy in a submarine, and he brings a journalist in to do a story about a submarine, but when they go down into the water, only he comes back. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then I was trying to find something to watch, and then I found this, and I watched it, and I'm just rocked to my core. Like, I don't even want to say anything else because I don't want to spoil it, because you need to go watch it, and then you need to talk to me about it. Like, it's just fucked up. It's fucked up. And I just can't understand. People are out here in the world, literal psychopaths. Anyone can be a murderer. Like, you can't trust anybody. There's just more evidence to my psychologist that I can't leave my house because everyone is a murderer. And you can't tell me otherwise. Like, anyone could be an actual murderer and psychopath. Like, I can't. Furthermore, it's just also like a really, really well done documentary. And this girl that went in to make this documentary, an Australian, like up Aussies, she was going in to film this scientist about his bloody submarines, and he was making a rocket ship and whatever. And then it turns out she's got her documentary, innocent documentary, is a bloody murder scene evidence. Like, and I can't believe I started to be a journalist. Like, if I was actually a journalist out there in the world, I would literally just have nightmares every single day. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't. I didn't even know what I'm talking about. Will I even post this? Because it's just a random rant and I just needed to. But maybe I will, because I need someone to talk to me. Into the Deep. Please go watch it. Please talk to me about it. Why are there so many fucked freaks in the world? It's so stressful. I need therapy after that. Anyway, bless up. Love you to my 10 fans. Mwah. Hopefully you watch it and then we can chat.
I'll check that out, but I think I know what case she's talking about because I heard it.
Let's talk about The Inhabitant. I got the chance to watch this movie early, and I have a couple thoughts.
Tara, I killed Dr. Sanchez tomorrow. I'm not crazy.
First off, the movie is based on the Lizzie Borden incident. In 1892, this woman infamously unalived her stepmother and father with an axe, giving her father 41 swings and her stepmother 40. So in this movie, Odessa actually plays a descendant of Lizzie Borden, Tara. And basically these strange murders keep happening in her town, but we don't really know who is doing these unalivings. So the movie has you questioning the whole time of who it could be, but you basically don't want to think that it's Tara. Like, is that bloodline cursed? I don't know. I recommend you guys find out yourselves. The movie is out in theaters, digitally, and on demand on October 7th. So go find out. Go find out.
I guess it was Tara, after all.
Say hello to Dr. Karl Tanzler. Tanzler was born in 1877 in Germany, and that is kind of where our story starts. Tanzler, for the longest time in his life, claimed that he was having dreams about a beautiful dark-haired woman who he was told he was going to have to save from some type of untimely death later down the line. So Tanzler went through his whole life continuing to look for this woman that he was supposed to save. Flash forward to the 1920s in Key West, where Tanzler is now working as a radiologist. He meets the beautiful Elena de Hoyos. Carl sees her and thinks, this is the woman from my dreams. She's the one that I have to save. Now, Elena is diagnosed with tuberculosis, which, as we know now, is not a very easily curable disease. So Carl takes it upon himself to personally treat her with all kinds of elixirs and potions he makes on his own to save her life. But Elena ends up dying anyway from TB. After she dies, Carl continues to have this obsession with her. Every single night, Tanzler is going to Elena's grave to speak with her, as he says. This story ends with Tanzler taking Elena's body out of the grave, taking it to his home, mummifying her the best he possibly could, dressing her up, dancing with her around the house, and acting as if she were still alive. And the reason that Tanzler was found out was because Elena's sister went to his home to beg him to stop going to see her every night at the grave, because it was an unhealthy obsession and the family was tired of it. And through the window, she saw him dancing with her sister's corpse. There are photos of what Elena looked like when she was found in Tanzler's home, but I can't show them because of community guidelines. So, the things that he did to her body after he took her out of her grave were truly horrendous, and he was arrested, but he was never charged with anything. A lot of people in the town took pity on him. And then it got worse when, instead of putting Elena back to rest, the state of Florida put her body on display. Eventually, Elena was buried again in an unmarked grave.
Imagine, well, you're a sister. You, like I said, you walk through, you see through the window, man. Your sister's body dug up and put in a dress by someone who's been obsessed with her. You telling them to go to the stop, and find out they took it way too far. Can't even imagine what she was going through when she seen that, and the fact that he had no consequences, crazy. Because the town felt bad for him. What about her?
This is why these old cathedrals freak me out. So in Loudun, France in the 1600s, there was this cathedral. And one day, all of the nuns that worked there were complaining about having the same nightmare. All of them were seeing this shadowy figure that they referred to as the Cloth Man. He would appear angelic at first, but then would quickly turn demonic. This was terrifying the nuns, but it started getting so much worse. See, after these nightmares started happening, the nuns started showing symptoms of demonic possession. Mass hysteria broke out, and some of the nuns were able to bend over backwards so their shoulders were touching their ankles. It was also said that others were caught levitating. But these nuns thought they knew who was doing this to them. The head priest at this cathedral was a man by the name of Father Grandier, and he was accused of practicing black magic. He was eventually burned at the stake, but they were not able to exorcise the demons out of the nuns. And in fact, many of the men who tried to perform exorcisms suffered horrible fates, even claiming that Grandier's ghost was tormenting them from beyond the grave.
Man, what the hell is going on in that town?
I have a stalker, and this update is probably the scariest one yet. Something really freaking scary happened last night. I was sound asleep, and at 3:28, my TV just turns on. And it doesn't just turn on to, like, the title screen or anything. It goes to that random video, like, ferrets from the same people who made Charlie the Unicorn. And I thought it was, like, an alarm. So I was like, Alexa, turn the alarm off. And she didn't. And I was like, Alexa, turn the podcast off. And she didn't. And I realized that it was coming from downstairs. I go downstairs because it's really loud, and I take the remote and I turn it off, and I go upstairs and I don't think anything of it. Then I remembered about that randomly at work, and I was like, that's really weird. And so I thought to check my cameras, and my free trial expired, so none of my cameras were visually picking up anything, but they did detect the motion. And at exactly 3:28, well, first of all, I think it was 3:13 before this happens, like 15 minutes before, it detected a motion where the cars are, and the car windows you can, like, see to the living room. And then at 3:28, right as I got up and turned the TV off, there was more motion in the cars. So I'm thinking maybe it was my stalker just trying to see if I was home or if I was awake or something. I don't know for sure, but do any of you guys know if you can turn on an LG TV without a remote? Like, if you could do it on your iPhone, or if you could buy, like, the same remote and be able to turn it on like that? Because I'm not sure what it was, but yeah. And I'm going to provide receipts. Okay, So as you can see over here, where I circled, at 3:13 a.m., there was movement in my cars. Sorry, I blacked out my address over there, and then 3:28 inside front where I turned off the TV, there was more movement, and then once again at 3:28. So I think someone turned on my TV, was watching from my cars, and then left when they saw I was awake, but I'm not sure. I need you guys to help me and to help me figure it out. So yeah, if you have any information on how LGTV works, that would be great.
I'm pretty sure, man, like, the TV.
The longer you look at this photo, the more disturbing it gets. Part 3.
Weird.
You might not see anything at first glance, except for the woman's lips in the mirror. But trust me, keep looking.
I don't see it yet. I could not see what he was talking about. I know the Seekers, if any of y'all can pick it up, y'all know what to do. Drop it down below, man. Try to review that and see what he was talking about, but I ain't see it. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video, comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.